Conditioning updates.
Your guide, Herb Fogg.
Human Moto.
Here he is now.
And here I am now. Hello everybody. Welcome to a special edition and update of AJ42K Productions. I am your host, AJ42K. Well guys, we have a countdown. A special countdown. 50 days from now, I am taking my talents to out of town, out of state, to run a race I have never done. I'm still going to remain that place private, and only very few friends and my mother know where I'm going. Until I get there, I will explain to everyone I'm there. Since this is a surprise place I've never gone to, I'm keeping this private till I get there. You're never going to tell anyone until you get there. You're never going to go home until you get there. You get the picture? I'm running in a city I've never been to, a state which I haven't been in a very long time, and a place that is all new to me. Like Pokemon Johto series would say, it's a whole new world we live in, a whole new way to see, a brand new place with a brand new attitude. Still gotta catch 'em all, technically win 'em all, be the best that you can be. That is exactly me 50 days from now. The day before, which is now 49, I'm going there, of course. 50 days from now will be the starting gun, and day 51 will be the time when I have to come back, unfortunately, home back to Nebraska. Oh well. Hey, after what I've been through, I'm lucky to even have a weekend getaway. Much less to get the fuck out of Omaha. But, everyone, 50 days. I cannot believe it's getting closer. I only got one more month to save as much money as I can, and I've been saving a lot of money, especially on this month. This week, especially this upcoming week, has now been the crescendo of my entire conditioning of 2025 before the running season. Like I told everybody, and like a lot of people don't understand, every year on January 2nd, the day after New Year's Day, is when I start my conditioning again. Until the first race starts, or my opening gun race, or the show starter race, however you want to call it, until that gun goes off, my season will be underway. If it hasn't gone off, this off season is still on. After conditioning, first race, gun goes off. Normally my race season is in April all the way to October. It has started in March a few times. It has ended in November and even September a few times as well. This year, I want to travel more. I wish I could travel a lot more. Because Omaha has nothing. And it will always have nothing. You can make Omaha like New York City, and it'll still be Omaha. Granted, after over 2 months of training, January was kind of a little iffy. February was pretty much starting to go a little further after the Super Bowl is over. Now we are in March, already 2 months past the start of the conditioning. This has been crazy. This has been awesome, crazy, shocking, historic, dreadful, joyful, painful, hard work, lazy stuff, and everything else in between aside from just conditioning. January 2nd to the first race of the gun, that's conditioning. Once the gun goes off, first race starts, my season's underway. Once the final gun, once I last reach the final finish line of my curtain call race, or the final race of the season, once I finish that part, the off-season begins again. But conditioning doesn't start again until January 2nd, so off-season will be from the holidays, from October or even sometimes November to January 2nd, and the cycle starts all over again with conditioning. Every year. Whether I have 3 races, whether I have 5 races, whether I have 11 races, whether I have 20 races, or just one race. Once that gun goes off, the season starts. Wow. 2 months and 5 days. Well, guys, now it's March. It's Green Shirt Day. It's Irish Drinking Day, soon to be. It's the Luck of the Irish, the month of marching in to Ash Wednesday, to Lent, and the list goes on and on and on. Spring is another reason why my season starts in spring and ends in the fall, because I'm not running in snow and ice, and even if I have to, which is a race, sometimes I may have to, that ain't gonna happen. Fun fact, I've done a race in January. Bet you did not know that about me. That's a different story. But with conditioning, guys, I've gotten a lot better. I have done more conditioning this whole week than any time in the past month. I've done more workouts this week alone, counting a few days before March, than any time in February or January, in one full month. I am starting to finally feel like the man I wish I would have been a long time ago. It always sucks when it comes to the off season, and then conditioning, and then many other stuff. That's nothing to do with running. Well, guys, wow. I would have never guessed this would come. Now, this is all I have left. My conditioning has been really well. My struggles have been on and off, but now I'm starting to realize, hey, this is the time to pump up. Even my mother, who happens to tell me to pump up your ante, which I was going to do so anyway, but thanks to my mom for that advice. Thanks, Mom. I was going to up the ante anyway. My ante now is 10K, or is 10K, so 6.2 miles. This week, I will be doing 10 miles 3 times in a week, starting Sunday, which is the next week. 3 times in a week. That's the peak of my entire conditioning. Once that goes up to the end of that week, it starts to decrescendo or descend, or on the decline of my conditioning. It's still going to be a 10K minimum, but it's going to drastically decline, because since it's now the peak of my entire time for conditioning, the closer I get to the race, the shorter it goes down. Now, the final week of conditioning, actually, should I say the final day of conditioning, is Wednesday, the 22nd, or whatever the 22nd is, because it'll be 4 days before my race. The 23rd, I have to prepare for a lot of stuff before I leave. The 24th is packing day. The 25th is to get there, and the 26th is the race. 50 days from now. 50 days. How on earth did this go by so fast? I remember when it was 150 days ago, and that was very shocking, because it was already very close to the new year. Wow. I'm now starting to, it actually was just after the new year. I feel like I'm getting old now. I can't even remember what year it is. I remember when the 100-day countdown was, and now I'm into the 50-day. Wow. So guys, 50 days from now, my peak of the entire conditioning is going to be on the rise. This is the highest of this is the peak of the whole entire conditioning since January 2nd. Once March 10th comes, or March 11th, or whatever day starts the next week, this is the peak of the whole thing. After that, the peak drops to decrescendo or descends. Still going to be a 10K minimum. And once April comes, the 10K minimum will still be around. But once it gets closer to the very end of the whole entire conditioning, the final week, this is when it's the final push, and that's all I have left. The final push, the final push, and I'm going to say this right now to everyone and announce this. The final push, 3 days before my race, or technically 4 days because of the 22nd. This will be the Tuesday after Easter on 420. Oh, how funny. Easter and pot smoking on 420. Say no more, but that's funny. But on 422, this is the last time I'm going to be doing any conditioning because I got to get to that race. The peak of the last day of conditioning will be a 15-mile run. That's it. That's the last thing I could do because I got to drive there first and foremost. And two, here's another thing. If I run anything closer to the race or hours before the race, why would you lose your energy? I know there's some people that do that stuff. That's their opinion. That's their prerogative. Go ahead if you want to do that, runners. But think with your head. Why would you waste your energy before the race? Do the same thing while at the race, before the race, or the day before, whatever. And then do it again while you're in the race. I'm like, save your energy. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people that do it and still do good at it, but that's not me. Save your energy. Save it for the actual thing. When Happy Gilmore was like, save it for the course, man. Save it for the course. That's why you think, hey, it doesn't count now. Save it for the race. Save it for the match. You know the rest, the whole entire story. Something a lot of avid runners don't get. I may be a chicken to not run in 120-degree weather. I may be a chicken to not run in 20 below weather. But hey, my health over your feelings. Chicken shits do matter in some ways. That has happened when people were saying, oh, it's 120 degrees, you can run anything. No, you can't, man. You're stupid if you run 120-degree weather without thinking, hey, this is not normal. But once it happens to you, once the warning comes, it happens to you. Don't blame me on that one. Anyway, I learned that thanks to my coach back in high school. I remember him saying this to this day, and still to this day, almost 20 years later, actually 20 plus years when he said this. I don't care what you guys do, but I'm advising you, all you young pups, that's what he called us. Hello, we're high school track and field athletes, or yeah. You young pups run at any time. That is your prerogative. You will not sue us, me, or anyone in Papio for your stupidity on running in snow and ice. He said that, and I still remember this exactly. Some of them decided to. I decided, no, I'm not going to fall for it, lose or break my leg or whatever. God forbid. And then, blame it on but the one I can blame on that part is myself. And funny thing is, 2 people were injured doing that. Bet you did not know that story about my high school years. One of them was temporarily injured for 2 weeks. The other one was out for about a month. That is the number one reason why, avid runners, I don't run in snow and ice. So real runners may run snow and ice. You may run in snow and ice. But smart runners know not to run. If you think I'm going to run in 120-degree weather, you're stupid. And so are you doing it. If you're going to run in 20 below weather, 20-degree below weather, you're stupid. Protection doesn't mean everything. Don't even get me started on that. If you're going to run in snow and ice, now I know there's a snowshoe or whatever they have here, or whatever they call it. That's your prerogative. Do what you want to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Don't. But if you do, like my coach said, you break your leg or whatever, don't blame it on me. I warned you. And like I'm warning you now too, from my coach. 20 plus years later, and he's still alive to this day. Runners, I'm back. And there's a lot that I had to overcome. But now that I have everything taken care of, 50 days from now, take your mark. Set! 50 days from now, booyah!